Last night I got a call that we don't want to get. I was actually heading to an event and I was just about to pull in and the phone rang and I saw the caller ID pop up and it was the owner of my mom's memory care. And every time I get a call out of the blue, from someone in that position, I get really nervous as I'm picking up the phone. And as it turns out, I had every right to be last night. She called to tell me that my mom had essentially fainted, passed out, and she was having a hard time reviving her, and she'd called the paramedics, and they were transporting her to the local hospital. Just so you know, my mom's fine. They got her to the hospital, and by the time she was there, she was alert and responding. They ran all the tests. Everything came back fine. We don't really know what happened. And the thing that I really wanted to share about this was kind of a moment that I had with the staff at the hospital. And it doesn't surprise me, and it does. I know this, and every time I go into it, it still surprises me a little bit to see that medical professionals often don't really know how to communicate with people who have dementia. When I was sitting there by my mom's bedside, and I saw the doctor come in, and she was talking to my mom, she was running her through the stroke protocols. Can you squint your eyes up? Can you stick your tongue out? Can you smile? And see if, and that's one thing they check for. If you try to smile and both corners of your mouth should rise, if one's drooping and one goes up, that's an indication that there may be a stroke involved affecting one side of the body. But there was one in particular that my mom didn't really, she just seemed not to understand what the person was asking. The doctor said, can you raise your left leg? And so we've got a few concepts in there that might be difficult. She has to know her left from her right. She has to be able to raise the leg and lower the leg and understand that direction. And she also has to be willing to. Because here comes a doctor. My mom is a very dignified person. She laughs and jokes and everything, but she has a lot of dignity. And so when the doctor comes in saying, hey, smile for me, stick out your tongue, pick up your leg, there's that feeling like, she kept looking at me like, is this person trying to make a fool of me? Because these are silly requests. And so I was, with the doctor, but I said, I put my hand over her foot and I said, hey mom, karate kick my hand. Show me a good karate kick, because we have that background. She's been watching me do martial arts since I was 8 years old. And she trusts me. She knows I'm not going to make a fool of her. She knows I'm not asking her for a silly reason. So as soon as I said that, bam, she kicked me right in the hand. Okay, do the other leg. Give me another karate kick. Bam. All right, no problem. And there was one that she wouldn't do. She would not stick her tongue out. And that just had to be okay. And that's back to that home team advantage, right? No doctor on that floor would have ever said, karate kick my hand. Why would they, right? But I know that. That's something that I know my mom's history. I know her history with me. She knows my history. So it's not such a crazy ask from me. So when you're working with doctors and hospitals and members of the general public, they're not always people who are dementia specialists. That's not what they do every day. They may have some understanding of it, but they don't have the depth of understanding that you do, frankly. You understand dementia and your loved one a lot better than they do in many cases. I did last night. And I'm certainly not someone qualified to tell if she had a stroke or run CT scans or anything like that. But I am someone who's qualified better than anybody else in the world now to talk to my mother. She and I, of the living people on this planet, I've spent more hours with her than anyone else, and she's probably spent more hours with me than anyone else. So I have that advantage when I go in. I understand what's going on with dementia. I understand what's going on with her and her background and her history and the way she carries herself. I understand her dignity. I understand how to talk to her. I understand when to make a joke and when to be serious. That comes from my personal relationship. No doctor can have that. And that's what we as family caregivers bring to the mix that nobody else in the world might have. That's the power of being a family caregiver.